Throwing ass on the gram, getting laughs at the stand. Only she can, only Feehans. It's only Feehans.
Welcome back to another episode of OnlyFeehans with me, Kerryn Feehan, and my illustrious guest today. You may have seen his HBO special, Son of a Gary. You might know him from Billions, formerly co-host of The Bonfire. I mean, everywhere, all over the place. Just the fucking best. Please clap it up like I'm hosting. You know when the host
Clap it home.
Clap it up, clap it up. I'm sorry.
Clap
Dan
it up, clap-
Soder, Dan Soder, Dan Soder, Dan Soder.
That's the best. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Clap it up. Nick Novicki and I used to do that all the time just as a joke. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up.
Clap it up. I do it to Rich Voss now sometimes.
Dude, it's the best. When you bring up someone like that.
Yeah. Clap it up. Can only get really loud.
Uh-oh. I sort of sigh. What
happened?
Oh, okay.
I felt the same way. I was like, what'd you do now?
Like,
you fucking
guys
idiot.
broke podcasting.
No.
Yeah, that's the intro I never understand is the say something back, say hell yeah. Because I don't think...
This isn't a call and response. Like
some crowds maybe.
Yeah.
Most crowds no. Because most crowds are like, wait, what?
What do I say?
Especially when it's like the third comic they've been going to do, like, I don't want to do that again. I'm eating my wings.
No.
I just want to watch you guys do your
Well, and they
jokes.
really put the entire onus on the audience to like go ballistic. They're like, I need you guys to be at a total crescendo before this person begins.
I don't even need that energy.
I don't want it.
Yeah,
I'm like, let's bring me to a middle.
A smattering of applause would be okay.
I'll take eye contact, guys. Everybody here? Everybody here?
Because you've brought up famous people at the stand, and like at the cellar, when you hear it, it's like the two pop. You say the famous person's name, they go crazy.
Yeah.
Then they see said person, and then they go really crazy.
Double nuts, yeah.
One time at the cellar, I watched Chris Rock went up, and these two guys were sitting there. And like they said Chris Rock, and the guy was like, ah. And then he saw him and he started punching his friend. I think I was with Joe List. I was with somebody, and we were like, look at that guy, he's punching his friend. And he was like, it's Chris Rock.
They can't handle it.
Yeah, because they don't. I was at the cellar the night of that. I got bumped for that $1 billion show. Do you remember that? It was like Schumer, Seinfeld, Aziz, Kevin Hart. Okay. Chappelle.
And this was all their net worths combined. It's $1 billion.
Yeah, so they're calling it.
Pretty cool. I love money.
But it was funny because like knowing how the crowds go crazy for celebrity reaction to the
tired?
Cellar. But they were like they couldn't even believe it. They'd be like, all right, Amy Schumer, Jerry Seinfeld. And then they're like, all right, Jerry Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld. And by the end they were like, no more Aziz. It was crazy. It was crazy watching them. And then Chappelle at the end, they were just like, oh, fuck. And they had them all on stage at the same time. But you're like, there's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But watching the audience get tired out just by the end, like, oh, sure.
Enough fame. We can't handle it.
No one great. How about just a guy I've never heard of?
I would go nuts for the American Gladiators tour. They redid it.
What episode are you on the Netflix?
I think 4 or 5.
I've been falling asleep to it.
I was just gonna say I've been dozing off.
It's good falling asleep, doc.
Yeah, but then I wake up and like Nitro's like doing blow, fucking chicks.
I see. I haven't got to the good part
and
yet.
There's lesbians.
Oh, they're just everyone's fucking because they're all on roids.
Yes.
Are you old enough to remember the television show being on?
Yeah.
I loved it.
I was, I think I was young, but my brother was very into it. But it was like appointment watching for us at some point in time. Like
I don't remember the scheduling. I don't remember if it was when.
It was not at nighttime.
It was sometimes after SNL. But my brain's got too much resin in it. I don't remember if it went wrestling WWF's Saturday Night Main Event into American Gladiators, which I feel like it did, because that was my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised I never took a lot of steroids because I grew up in I was a kid, a little boy in the late 80s, early 90s.
And it was everywhere. Hulk Hogan was like the guy.
I was a huge Hulkamaniac.
Randy Macho Man Savage.
Who didn't love him? But they also loved American Gladiators, loved every Arnold movie, every Stallone movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now, I'm not saying all these guys are on gear. But yeah, no, I am. I am saying they were all on steroids. So I'm just surprised that more of me and my friends aren't just walking around.
Right.
Just,
it didn't.
just with
just-
back knee jacked.
Wait,
Ice
which
was
one-
all right.
Is that Ice?
Lace was my gal.
Yeah, pull up Lace.
Lace was my number
What
one.
was the black one? There was-
She was
with the braids, and she was
Fire. No,
she was married, and she was like on their tour bus. Have you got to the tour bus where they're all?
No.
That's where they went on tour, like to all these different cities, and they took a tour bus together, and that's when they did a lot of their partying and humping and stuff.
And these guys are great, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm more impressed is there are dudes that went on that show
the regular guys
and kicked
they
ass.
were really good. They won sometimes.
There was a couple guys that like won multiple times. They
Yeah.
did like a champions one. Look at that.
Look at them all. They're so tan.
Because I bet if you're like not ripped, but
Yeah.
just like a good athlete.
agile, fat, like that's she was married.
What was
she
her
was
name?
the good one. I don't remember.
Blaze?
Might have been Blaze. The names were so fun. Nitro.
Loved it.
My mom loved Nitro.
Yeah, it
I'll
was Blaze.
tease her. We would all tease him.
Oh, she loved
My
Nitro?
Mom, yeah.
Mom crushes are fun when you remember them. Because now I'm 40 and I'm like, oh, my mom just was a person. But like when the Colorado Rockies were made, a team in baseball was 1993.
Yeah.
And I was like 10 years old. And I remember my mom being like, Dante Bichette is so cute. Look at his butt.
Yeah.
She'd be like, I love his butt. Look at his butt in those baseball pants. And you're like,
My mom would be like, "Ooh, look at Nitro and that tight
Yeah,
spandex." He's like,
dude.
"Nothing like your father and his tighty whities."
yeah, Nitro, it was just yacked out of his mind.
Yeah, he was all chest and
I'm trying to think-
nipples and
My
He
favorite
was the hottest.
male gladiator was probably Gemini because he was
Yeah.
the most badass looking one.
he was the biggest. I
Yeah,
feel like.
he looked like a superhero.
Yeah, nobody won against him. I feel
Nitro's the guy, Mr. Steal Your Girl,
like. yeah.
slick back hair. Guy probably looked incredible coming out of a pool, pushing off.
Yeah.
You know when people push? You know when real in shape dudes come out of pools and they push off the side
Yeah,
when they're
they're
coming
all
up?
upper body.
They don't have to do me where I waddle up and then I get a knee up and then I crawl.
You're like a walrus. You're like a
Dude, when I was in college,
seal.
we had a pool at our apartment complex, and this girl that I had a crush on, but she was like the hot girl of our friend group at the time. I got out of the pool, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're like Swamp Thing." And I was like, "Oh." We were like all high, and she thought it was being funny, but I was like, "No, you're right." I was just like sloshing out of the water. But then whenever you see good looking dudes, the in shape guys push
They really
off.
do. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, man. American Gladiators fucking ruled. And I'm glad they did this documentary. This is one of those documentaries I was very pleasantly surprised
I was
to
like,
see.
oh
I
yeah.
was like, I fucking love American Gladiators.
It
And
was
then, of course,
mainstream.
Saint Germain knows of the several ones. He goes, that one's good, but there's a better
Of
one
course, of
about
course
the
there is.
producers.
I would have never heard of another one.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I love Saint Germain.
He's like, he has a filmography of the
He's like-
Gladiator documentaries.
He's like, check out the one on ESPN. It's way more about the business side
There's
of it.
actually a link on the dark web I'll send you that tells
I
you
love
the
it.
real shit.
He's like, it's pretty nasty, man. You know, a couple people died. And you're like, yeah, I love getting to the point where they're talking about, I want to get to that point where they're doing the yak. It's just starting to be, I'm at the end of episode 1.
Oh yeah.
Beginning of episode 2.
Yeah, I think I slept through episode 3 by accident.
I fell asleep mid episode 1, woke up mid episode 4,
Yeah,
and was like,
I gotta go back.
how did this? I thought it was the same episode. I was like, there's no way. And I looked, I was like, I fell asleep.
The first costumes they put him in were so funny.
So bad.
They were like, I don't know, they're just
Well,
like trash people.
They're also like clearly, when you watch the documentary, you'll see they're clearly figuring it out
As they go. Yeah, they had no idea.
I only remember the finished product. I remember
Same.
the Eliminator.
Yep.
I remember when they had the tennis ball thing like all figured out. And when
Yeah.
you were little and you watched it,
Yeah.
it felt like it had been around like baseball. Like it had been around for
It was-
100 years.
I know. What are you watching tonight? American Gladiators.
I loved it. Saturday night, mini Oreos.
They had fake boobs. Which one had fake boobs?
I don't know,
think
but that was
the
the
late
first
ice.
time I saw it. That's the first time you see fake boobs
Yeah.
on a muscular woman, which is unsettling because you see where the boob is. The whole point of the fake boob is to look like it is a
It's
part of you.
meant to be. Yeah, no,
But
and
when
it's
you're
just like
fucking when they have triangle
pecs,
tits,
right?
and then it's just a tit on top of it.
They're like,
that makes me
"Where should we-"
uncomfortable. You're into fitness. You would never get that.
That
in
would look
shape.
so weird. No, that's so. I
Just
mean,
ripped with a fake tit over
Yeah.
a pec.
that was like the look for some of those women, though. That was what they wanted.
I'm more fascinated about like not gym rat guys but just regular dudes
Who were like saw this on TV.
who are super into very muscular women.
Oh, those guys?
Like, you know, the guys that love to get like did you watch
Joe Rogan.
I don't think so. He's so in shape. He's probably into regular ladies.
No, he said before he likes like sturdy chicks with like big legs that can deadlift.
That's fine. I'm talking about like regular dudes, like nerds.
Oh, like a little
being like,
yeah.
Can you put me in a headlock?
Right.
and then they're like,
Hold me like a baby.
yeah,
Can you feed me formula?
like
Wipe
that.
me.
Like they want a big woman to scoop them up to give them uppies.
They stand behind her at any confrontation.
Oh, they
Like,
just like, but just to feel their
she's got
body.
it.
Because there are.
Of course.
That's a probably a big kink.
I think that people who are those feeder people should be in jail.
Oh, the ones that just keep feeding fat people to
Yeah.
die? Yeah, it's assisted suicide.
Yeah.
It's slow assisted suicide.
Yeah, it's sick. It's worse than like the wives that poison their husbands.
It is on par with that. It is on the same level.
Because
If
they're
you're-
like scoop and then jerk, scoop and then jerk.
That's what they do?
I don't know, I imagine.
But it's probably gotta be, and let's just go inside the mind of someone that's into feeders real quick. Gotta be the sounds.
Oh, God.
It's gotta be the sounds and the smell.
Yeah, because they're all mouth breathers,
And
so
there's like-
they're not closing their mouths. So it's all fucking
It's
nasal.
it's like the most disgusting ASMR. They're just like,
I burp, baby. Baby, I burped.
and they're like, oh, I got you.
They wipe their fucking
Do you want
bed
another
sores.
burger? And she goes, do I? Do you think they do it to get them excited? Or they're like, there you go. I got a milkshake in the fridge.
You got what?
And then he's like, oh, I'm going to fucking lose it. Oh, I'm going to fucking lose
I
it.
can't believe she could
Watch
eat
her,
this
watch her
much.
take down this Big Mac.
Look at her.
Fucking.
She's like, dude, being a feeder is fucked up.
It's twisted.
Yeah, you've consistently rallied against unhealthy morbidity. I mean, you've gone against fat people. You've gone to war against fat people. But I've said you've stayed diligent.
It doesn't matter, Dan. I'm losing the fight.
Yeah.
2/3 of Americans are obese.
But that's fine. That's why
2/3.
you're gonna be able to run all over everybody. I think I'm obese. I might
you
be
are
obese.
not even close.
If I did a BMI,
No.
I might be obese.
No.
I'm telling you, there's times I'm just like. I'm telling you, I
Why do you think that?
rewatched Louis Chewed Up, and he's right at my age. It's like weird when you go back and
He
watch
has
specials.
more of a pronounced stomach than you.
But I love it when he did it. I go, I know that. That's how my body's forming into. Like you could see it.
That's where I'm going.
You like touch the window. You know when dogs bark when they see other dogs on TV?
Stop.
That was like I was like, hey, that's me. But feeder people specifically.
And also, like your weight isn't impeding your lifestyle. Like
That's
that.
what I have friends that have had that happen, and
Yeah.
then like when they turn it around, it's so rewarding.
Isn't
to
it for
watch them.
everybody?
But to watch them like
Yeah. Figure
make
it out.
progress,
I know.
and then start living healthy, you're like, all right. Even if you don't have to get fucking shredded,
No.
But just when you see
Their neck again.
what's crazy is Bobby got the
That
surgery,
surgery, yeah.
and dropped the weight.
Yeah.
Got super. I mean, he worked his ass off.
Totally.
Ate right, worked out.
Yeah.
It was. I always think about that scene in Hook where Robin Williams, the first time he goes back to Never Never Land,
Yeah.
and then that little black kid pushes his face, and he goes,
Yeah.
"There you are, Peter." That's what it feels like when your overweight friends start losing weight. You're like,
Yeah.
"There you are."
I thought you were going to talk about the scene where they all imagine the food.
No, I bet that's a lot. I bet that's happening a lot for people when they really lose weight. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh.
I-
But
the-
feeding specifically, that kink,
It's pretty sick.
they should get. Should we do like, remember that show Wife Swap?
Feeder swap, starver swap, Munchausen
You should do like
swap.
kink swap
Okay.
and like the person.
Starver swap.
Like the person that's into super muscular ladies
Okay.
is with a lady that was with a feeder. And
Yeah.
the feeders.
Or do they
with
just
the-
shame them into
with just a
shape?
jacked
It's like,
lady.
don't you want to have biceps?
Don't you want to feel your delts rip through?
Don't you want to carry me?
God, don't you want to put me in a baby carriage and push me around the apartment?
The last 600-pound life episode I watched.
I can't watch that shit.
This lady, it was like It was like a mouth and a nose and eyes like coming out of like a mountain of flesh. You know what I mean? Like there was no distinct. Her face and the rest of her just never stopped.
I bet those dumps are
She's yeah, I know.
wild.
But she's just like, food is my pleasure button.
Is that what she said?
Food is my
Imagine
only
how fucked up-
pleasure button.
I mean, I feel bad. I genuinely feel bad.
Of course.
I've had
No, I
friends
know.
with, but I've had friends with like, real big weight struggles.
Yeah.
And it really is, thank God mine was alcohol. Don't you ever think that like we're lucky that we got alcohol?
Yeah, no,
That we
I
got
think,
alcohol.
Instead of eating,
I've had friends that are sex addicts. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God it's not sex. Thank
Yeah.
God it's not food.
Yeah.
Thank God it's booze. Thank God it's like one thing
I feel
where
like
I'm
sex addict might be a little better than booze.
no way. Sex addict, you're ruining so many more people's lives.
Yeah.
Because if you just remember how you
fun.
needed to drink.
Sounds like a
remember
good
how,
time.
Listen, are there memories that probably rock ass? Yeah. But then you're like breaking up families
Oh, of
and
course.
hurting friendships and shit.
Right.
That's what it's like. Alcohol's the best because you can do all those things. But then you pull the alcohol out and you're like, oh, okay.
That really is like, it's one of the more simple fixes. As hard
It
as
really
it was
is.
for me to quit, now that
It's very hard to quit.
been so long. It's
How
like,
long has it been for you?
5 years.
Yeah, I'm at 10.
Yeah.
And I was just like, people are like, what's the hardest? I just went to a barbecue with Shane Gillis.
So hard. That's
That
probably
was
tough.
the hardest
I
thing
know.
I've ever
'Cause
done.
it's
I
like-
drank a 12-pack of Heineken Zeros.
Yeah.
I drank a half a rack of fucking...
I mean, you might as well just like shotgun a lard can. Like,
it
you
was
should-
wild. I was... that night, I was like, oh.
But Shane also does like fun drinking.
That's what I mean. It was also with... I'm a lifelong 49ers fan.
Yeah, was
it
that
was at
guy
the house
there?
of Kyle Juszczyk and George
Wait, was
Kittle.
it the Beer Olympics thing?
No. That
Oh.
was in Nashville.
Oh.
They... we went to a barbecue on Long Island
Oh.
where Kyle Juszczyk and George Kittle were there, and it was like, I want to do beer pong.
I know. I want to do like a keg stand with
Well,
those
I
guys.
did. They cleaned out a beer bong, and I beer bonged a Heineken Zero
Nice job.
because they were like, "You got to get involved," and I was like, "If you wash that out." Even hammered, Shane was cool about it. He's like, "Yeah, wash that out. Have Soder do a beer bong,"
That's
and I hadn't done it in
good.
so long that it was like,
I feel like
still got my good stuff.
that's nice. He didn't like shame you or like.
No. Shane knows how close I am. Every friend of an alcoholic knows that
Yeah.
we're like, do you think I don't want to go
I
back?
know. Is
Do
it
you
like-
think I don't?
Do you think I'm a nerd who never drank?
Yeah.
That's
do you
not,
think
I'm
I
not
wasn't?
that kind.
Dude, Katie and I's first date, we went out to dinner and then I had a spot at the cellar and then we went to go grab a drink. But I was like, I don't drink, but we can go to a bar and I'll get I got a Heineken Zero.
Yeah.
And I remember I drank half of it in like 2 drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
And Katie goes, "Oh, so you really drank?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah. But it, like being at that
Like
with
a
your
pelican.
friends. Yeah, with your friends, you're like, yeah, I want to do this.
It's the activities. It's a fun attached activities that
Yeah.
are hard. Like all the games, beer pong, flip
Miss it.
cup. Like
I
the
got to
little
play flip cup
shot
with
thing.
because I can do the things where you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can't play beer pong if you don't drink.
No,
It's just you're done.
you're gonna ruin the game.
If it's water, the whole point is you get
Unless
drunker.
nobody drinks, you find 3 other alcoholics. We
Ew.
could do it.
And I've tried weed. Well, I'll take a hit of weed.
Oh, that sounds so not the same.
It's not fun at all.
Yeah.
It is. It's the games. It was all that. But then you quit and you're like, all you do is cut it out.
I know.
You just stop. Like when I reframed my mind of like, well, I have an allergy. I'm allergic to scallops. I
Are
just
you?
don't eat, I just don't eat scallops.
Okay.
I can eat other shellfish.
Right.
Just can't have scallops. If I take that same mentality with alcohol,
Yeah.
then I just don't touch it. Then it's less of white knuckling. It's less of like,
Right.
I need it. It's like, oh, if I do that, it'll fuck shit
It'll
up.
It'll
Yeah.
just ruin my life.
Yeah, it'll
and it's
ruin
like
my
maybe
life.
my thing is like maybe not tonight, but definitely eventually.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
If you go back, you're like, it's like getting back in the drug dealing game.
Yeah.
I always say in the movies with the drug dealers, when they're doing very well, every movie I can tell you the alcoholic point where you're like, get out right there and everything's all right.
Yeah, this is your spot.
And then they keep going. And then it fucks up.
And
And
then
that's
it's
why
over.
like we got out.
yeah.
You can't go back to the
And
game.
now it's like there's all these like little things when I see people ordering like $14 cocktails. I'm like, you fucking. And then it's always I mean, I
But
love,
imagine that with food.
well, that's why you can't quit. But I love hearing people like I don't know. I love hearing women be like, "Yep, I'm really cutting out sugar. I'm really staying away from this. I read all these articles, da 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 da," and they'll have like 2 or 3 drinks, and I'm like, "You just had your sugar for the week."
I lost 40 pounds when I quit drinking.
Right.
I lost 40 pounds.
Probably saved $40,000.
And Joe List was like, because he was the first person I really talked to when I quit. Like, he helped me through it, and he was like, 90 days, no booze. Eat whatever you want.
Oh yeah,
At whatever
let yourself
time.
Eat whatever, right?
And I was ordering
Sugar.
You want to know the sickest shit?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever admit this. This is the food equivalent of getting a hooker.
Yeah, what?
I ordered Domino's
Okay.
in New York City. We have the best pizza in the world, and I was like, I want
I've done it.
fucking Domino's to dunk.
Thick, gooey, fucking crust.
And I was eating Domino's like probably once or twice a week.
Wow.
Drinking soda nonstop, and
Yeah.
I lost 40
And you
pounds.
lost weight. Yeah.
Because I would
But you take that baseline of sugar out. Yeah.
Because every night I was doing a shot of Jameson with a Budweiser
Okay.
chaser.
Yeah.
But I would do 4 to 8 rounds of that.
Yeah.
And that's 8 to 16 drinks.
Right.
So that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
And you pull that. Did you start loving sweets when you quit
Yeah.
out?
My sugar, even to this day, it's
You can't get rid of that.
No.
I love sweets.
Me too.
And so when I left the barbecue,
I
and I
ate
was
2
like,
Snickers in my bed last night. Back to back. I was like, I pretended like they were 4 separate fun sizes.
dude, I get that. Snickers brownies does 4 in the purple.
okay,
in
yeah.
the purple sleeve.
I think I've had them before.
They do 4.
Yeah.
And when I'm on the road, I'm like, and I'll get one and I'll be like, well, this is for 3 nights. And then I'll eat it the first night and I'll be like, I need to get another one. The candy that I was obsessed with, but they, thank God, changed the recipe so it sucks. Sweet tart rope bites.
Oh, that's not I'm not a tart. I'm not
You're
a
not
tart.
tart or sweet?
I don't like the Sour Patch Kids. I'm not a big gummy person.
I'll
do it if it's around. but-
Starburst High Chews.
Yeah,
Your chocolate.
chocolate. But when I'm trying to be healthy, I will go get a sorbet of sorts, like a mango or a raspberry, and then a bar of dark chocolate. And that's me being healthy. But I found out, somebody told me I think it was my brother, dark chocolate has a lot of minerals in it.
Is that bad?
There are metals, heavy metal. And I was like, what kind? Like,
Yeah, we both did. We're both like, all right. You're riding through. You bite into it. When I bite into dark chocolate, I feel like I'm rocking ass.
how heavy of the metal?
What's your favorite chocolate candy bar?
Like Reese's peanut butter cups. I know that's on a bar, or Snickers.
Fuck yeah.
But Reese's, I'll get, when I go to
When
my
you
little
snap
market.
them, when they're good enough to snap.
Yeah.
Justin's? Do you like the Justin's
I'll do a
ones?
Justin's. I'll do any cup, really. As long as they're not, I can't do fake sugar. I can't do stevia, monk fruit.
No, either can I. And I've never liked Diet Cokes or sodas
Can't.
for that reason.
Don't like them.
If I have a soda, I'm going to have a regular Coke.
Yeah.
Or a regular.
I do a
can't
ginger beer.
Ginger beer, I get reflux.
Oh, really?
Because I drink too much coffee.
I do pineapple juice, even though Joe Harari spiked my fucking pineapple juice at the stand a couple weeks ago. I even said I'm very cautious when I order my pineapple juice. I like to have my own can. Sorry to be such a diva, but don't give it to me out of like you've already poured it in a canister because like
Yeah, bar shit.
it goes really fast and it's
Yeah.
sour. And B, those dumbasses at the stand, which I had the foresight. I was like, I want my own can. They're like, oh, this is pineapple juice. Don't worry. And I poured it. I was like, I bet you that's a fucking cocktail, pre-made cocktail mix. And it was. There was tequila in it. So I had one sip. But I'd call it a mulligan.
But no, you can't. That's not you.
No, I call it a mulligan.
I've done a vodka soda at a wedding that someone said was a Sprite.
Yeah.
And they handed me it, and I was like, and I fucking pulled it. And I was like,
yeah.
that's vodka.
Yeah.
And then you get to do the thing of
Shaming the person who gave it to you.
If you're in a mood,
I won't let it go. Every time I see Joe, I'm like, I could be dead because of
yeah,
you.
you go, man, I can't believe that. And I just walk up and later in the wedding and go, remember when you gave me alcohol? And they're like, I didn't, fuck, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, you go, oh, man, it's crazy you tried to ruin my sobriety.
Yeah. Micah Fox quit drinking pretty recently. I think she has like 5 months or something. And she thinks that there's like a cultural shift happening away from drinking.
Yeah, I think, you know what's funny is I saw it wasn't about drinking, it was about someone was comparing, because I just turned 40, so when someone puts like a 40 and over stat, I'm like, well, what is this about?
This is my group.
Bacon bad for you?
This is my group.
But there was this thing, this someone was talking about marriage and kids, and they were like, marriages are down umpteenth % with people between the ages of 30 and 40. And I saw someone respond to the tweet being like, yeah, dude, we saw all the divorces.
Yeah.
We saw unhappy marriages.
Right.
Maybe people aren't getting married because they don't want to jump into something that, or, you know.
It's going to end.
I mean, I've waited until I'm 40
Yeah.
and I am so happy to get married finally, you know what I mean? But it's like, I could have jumped into something in my 20s and been divorced by now.
Right. I could have just like said like yes to like a few proposals while I was in a blackout.
Damn, that would have been crazy. That's real alcoholism. I think about that all the time.
I could have a couple of kids.
Oh
I
my
guess.
God. I drank enough that I probably could have been convinced to be married with a kid right now. If I didn't have comedy,
Yeah.
if I didn't have the thing that made me want to quit,
Right.
I could just be like,
Me too. I would have just found, yeah, if I had no like actual aspirations, I could have just found a drinking buddy and been like happy.
what do you think this?
maybe
What do you think the stats are?
with like fetal alcohol syndrome kids?
Oh my God, dude, you're
With the big
fucking looking at
heads.
one, dude.
I know.
Size 8. I could butt my head through your wall and go to your neighbors. There,
You don't have like the droopy eyes though.
I know. I got work done. I was kidding. I got fetal alcohol syndrome plastic surgery.
Got a fetal facelift.
I got my eyes separated and then set. Do you think people quit drinking and get divorced? Do you think that's common? Do you think people like sober up and they're like, what the fuck was I
think-
doing with you?
I mean, that's got to be a part of it. That's got to be a part of it if your like activities are all revolving around drinking. It's like, oh, what do I
Yeah.
even know about this person? We have
Man, and I bet you were in some relationships when you find a fun drinking buddy, but they crash.
Yeah.
Those things crash. All it takes is someone to get too drunk, and then they're like,
See, but my thing, it was me. Like, I was the liability. I was always the problem.
usually is the ladies.
My ex would
Usually
be
is
like,
the girls get a little too drunk, and then there's a little jealousy comes out, and then there's a fight for no reason.
absolutely. I threw a beer bottle at his face on his birthday one night. I used to pour soup in his shoes.
Why?
He was bad.
What did he do?
He would stay out too late, and he would cheat on me, I think.
Well, cheating on you is one thing, but staying out too late that's wild.
Oh, yeah. I would just, we did a lot of like spiteful things to each other.
Is he alive?
Yeah.
Is he sober?
No.
He still drinks.
Yeah. I like quit.
He always like one of those. I feel like everyone I dated when I drank, I need to give like a hi. I'm
Hey,
sober.
so
Dan.
sorry about
And
all
I'm
that
really sorry
stuff.
about
Yeah,
all that.
I know.
Sorry, I ate Blue Nine Burger on your couch and fell asleep. You didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve for me to roll over on it in the middle of the night and then wake up and blame you.
My guy used to just find me with me bloody all the time.
Oh my God!
And my face would be all fucked up.
Smoke in places I had zero business. I was smoking like I was Chappelle on stage. I would just walk into girls' apartment and be like, "So this is your grandmother's house," and then fucking smoking randomly.
I did.
Oh, she has emphysema. Even better. And then just fucking lit up. I used to smoke everywhere, and I didn't care. I was drunk at K-Rock when I worked there.
Okay.
So I would do check spots at Stand Up New York. This is like 07, 08.
Okay.
I would do check spots at Stand Up New York, and then Rick, R.I.P., the bartender that worked there, he was great. He worked at CB's as well. He would give me a bag of beers.
I thought you were going to say cocaine.
No,
Bag
he'd
of
give me a
beers?
bag because I would do the midnight shift at K-Rock for New Year's.
So after you did guest spot,
So I would do-
check spot.
I'd do a check spot on the 8 o'clock, check spot on 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I would go to K-Rock at 11 p.m. to work because everyone wanted to go party, and I was the youngest on the staff. So they were like, you have to do New Year's. So I did the New Year's like 2 or 3 years in a row, and I would do the check spot. Rick would give me a bag of 8 to 14 beers.
Okay.
A couple cans, mostly bottles.
Okay.
I would take it up at 40 West 57th.
Yeah.
And while I was doing my shift, I would just fucking pound
Right,
beers.
right.
Sometimes I'd bring a flask of JMO.
Oh.
And then I would just go into the stairwell and
Smoke
rip
cigarettes.
back-to-back cigarettes without checking with anyone. Not even like a cool, hey, like real on the deal. Is it cool if I go smoke? Just being like, all right. I'd put my wallet to keep the door open. And I'd just be like sitting on the stairs smoking and being like, Offspring, I'd be like listening in a radio, and I'd be like, I got 2 more songs I gotta be.
At least these things were like all under the umbrella of like a comedy career. Like I would do that stuff while I was working at a tanning salon.
Oh my God. When I worked at Bed Bath & Beyond, I was so hungover one time, I got caught sleeping in the pillow room.
You like puke on that blue apron.
I was like hiding under the pillows.
Not a bad place to be
sleeping.
hungover,
It
actually.
was kind of sick until I was just remember being asleep and one of the pillows moving like ET. And I was like,
oh, Daniel.
And it was
Daniel,
one of the assistant
good
managers
morning.
that I was cool with. And
You
she was
can't
like,
sleep here.
yeah, she goes, I think you better get up. Oscar might find you. And I was like,
Oscar, that fucking.
and then I used to go into the Bed Bath & Beyond, RIP, do it as well. There's a middle section in all the stores. So like, when you're walking around, in the middle is where they keep all the small stuff.
Okay.
So you have to like walk through like this. It's like almost like a secret entrance.
Okay.
And then there's all
Ribbon
this.
cigs.
I would take candy bars. I would just eat the candy bars I would be so
Reckless.
hungover that I'd be like,
Yeah.
fuck this, I want candy. And then I'd just start eating. And they were like fancy chocolate bars where it's like,
When the checkout line, right?
yes,
Yeah,
those.
I know.
And I would just, oh man, I was a problem hungover at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah, I did some fucked up shit.
Did you used to go to work drunk?
Oh yeah. I mostly waitressed.
How good of a waiter are you when you're drunk though?
Oh, I was the top seller at Sushi Samba.
Because you're like, I think a drunk waiter a drunk waiter was the first person to sit at the table with them.
Yes.
You know that move at Applebee's where they're like, what's going on today, guys? I think it was absolutely an inebriated
I would
waiter.
crush the most when I had like a group of like 7 businessmen because I would dress like a whore and I'd be a little fucking wasted and I'd be like, listen, I can tell you guys got money.
Let's fucking go. Dude, the worst was, so I worked in 50th and 3rd in Midtown, so there was like a lot of businessmen that would come in. And I was me. They didn't want me.
No.
Businessmen did not want me as a waiter.
No, they're like, we don't want to do. Like, you could bartend, but they don't want you to wait on them.
No, being like, hey guys, what do you think of those enchiladas? And they're like, I don't know, Dan. But when I would do dinner shifts, there was this girl named Devin, and she had like anime eyes, like these big brown eyes. She was like cute and wore like a little mini skirt, and it'd be like, and socks.
Yeah.
And she'd be like,
hi
guys.
I got what would be considered, I suppose, sexually assaulted pretty often when I was fucking.
oh, they just grab you?
They would grab my ass by people I worked with, by people I waited
Restaurant
on.
business is a filthy game.
AJ Descala, who used to be married to Jamie Lynn Siegler, stuck his hand up my skirt at Sushi Samba. He was hammered. He was in a blackout.
Were you like, whoa?
I was like, hey, ho, I told everybody. I was like, just put his hand on my skirt. He was like, hey, I'm paying. They were like, sorry.
And that's so funny. They go, he's gonna tip for it. That was the old school excuse where they're like, I'll just tip you really well.
Yeah, they would be like, oh.
And as a waiter, you're like,
I'll take it.
looks sick.
Do it again, bitch.
But you know when waiters would start other tables for you?
Yes.
Because you'd be smoking?
Yes.
I would always be smoking.
Or drinking.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh my God. When they'd pour an accidental prickly pear frozen margarita and go into the back and suck that bad boy
Slam
down.
it. Caipirinha at Sushi Samba. Or I would upsell people like bottles.
Kerryn and I are going to relapse by the end of this episode. We're going to both be waiting tables and drinking heavy.
I would upsell people sake bottles, and then so I would have like 2 open ones because I would do like a tasting.
Yeah.
But I would just keep one for myself.
Yeah, always.
I would tell the waiters, I was like, we're having our own tasting.
You know what the most alcoholic move is in waiting at any restaurant? When they taste with the straw.
Yep.
And then you just keep going
Don't
back,
stop
and
until
you're
there's
like,
nothing left.
and you go, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hold on. Is that made right? And you're just watching the level. It's like climate change. You're just watching lakes disappear. You're just gone. So this girl, like starting a table, I was smoking a cigarette and I was on I used to do doubles on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That was like when I worked there.
Yeah.
And it was like a Thursday and I was smoking a cigarette and I came back in and that Devin girl was like, are you off your break? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I started 3:11 for you.
Yeah.
This is going to be a huge table. They're drinking Patron and they've got a double guacamole, which was like fucking $28 to order a double guacamole.
Yeah.
And they're drinking like $14 margaritas.
Okay.
So I was like, fucking sick. And I load up the tray of margaritas and I bring back and I go, hey guys, so I'm Dan, your waiter. And they out loud go, oh man.
Where's Devin?
I just turned around and I go, Devin, go talk to Christy, whoever the manager was. I was
Yeah.
like, have them switch it back to yours. I'll take a table in your section.
Yeah.
I'm going to
can't
get
even-
fucked on that.
I know.
I don't want that table.
No, I know.
I don't want to be their stepdad.
It's
Where there's like, hi, Dan. And I'm like, what'd you guys think of that queso fundito?
one guy.
While you're cleaning the fucking table. What'd you guys think of that? You guys want that hot piece of ass that I pulled away from you? So you guys can hear me? I do a pretty good impression of Macho Man Randy Savage. I fucking hated it. Sometimes people would talk about comedy while I was waiting on them, and they'd be wrong. And it would be
Make
the
your
only...
blood boil.
It would be the only thing I ever interjected.
You would correct them.
But they were like, Eddie Murphy, his first special was called like Live in Hollywood. And I was like, it was called Delirious. It was called Delirious, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever done. Stop talking your stupid bullshit.
Idiot.
You fucking idiots.
Yeah, it was because I always ask you questions about yourself too. And
What would you tell them? When they were like, what do you...
I would be too lazy to lie.
I would always tell them I was an aspiring waiter. And it would
That's a good
fuck them
one.
up.
I think I would maybe sometimes I would joke around and be like, I don't know, when I'm not here, I work on the corner. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
like
fun.
do, like,
I would always
stupid
be
shit.
like, I'm hoping to do well enough here to get hired at the Russian tea room. And they're like, oh, are you serious? And you're like, yeah, no, I'm dead serious. This is my life, dude.
People at Sushi Samba would ask me if I was Asian because I would pull my hair so tight, and I would be like, no, and I would loosen my ponytail. Like, see?
Yeah, and they go, oh, good trick.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I guess dress for the job you want, huh?
Yeah.
Just pull a tight enough ponytail for the job you want.
The place I stole from the most was called Firehouse. I was on the Upper West Side, and I was the daytime bartender, and that's like $100 shift.
First off, shout out to all the
daytime
daytimers.
B-tenders.
We're talking about daytime bartenders, lunch closers.
Love you guys.
We see you.
You're doing the best.
Steal again.
Steal. Just
Oh my
steal.
God, the food.
Make your own discounts. And like, especially if they were paying cash, they would be like, oh, this will be $6 for this beer. I'm like, no, it'll be $8 tip for me. The whole thing I keep.
Oh,
And they would just, I don't know, when they ran the numbers and looked at my cups, there would always be booze in it. I would always be stealing.
did you get fired?
Yeah.
For what?
Being drunk and my drawer being off.
Oh, because you were bartending.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is my dad was a bartender, and he got fired all the time for drinking.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense. And when I was a kid, I was always like, how could he do that? And now I'm like, well, yeah, of course.
Especially if you're the daytime bartender, it's like you would just get jealous of the people who just sat there and drank all day. I'm like, what the fuck why do you get to do this? I'm like, I do too.
This guy came in, this was before the
Oh, it's
08,
closed. Good.
the 08 crash. This Australian guy would come in. We had a tequila called 1800 Collection.
Yeah.
It was like $225
For the bottle
for
or
a
for
glass.
Shut up.
For a neat
Woo.
pour. 1800 Collection. And this guy would come in, this Australian guy, and he would order a margarita.
With that?
And the bartender would be like, you know that's a $225 margarita. And he'd be like, that's why I plan on having 2 of them. And
What?
he would spend $500 and then tip her $100 cash. And I remember being
Who was he?
jealous. I didn't know if I was more jealous of her or him.
Yeah.
Because I was like, 2 drinks, bam, $100.
500? Yeah.
And that guy was just like, and then
Imagine that's so much money.
that's
Especially
so
if
much
it's
money
a-
to piss away.
Yes, if that's your routine, just like a
Go
couple
have a
of-
house margarita.
Yeah.
Do blow, buddy.
Right, yeah.
Maybe that's what stops him from doing blow. Maybe if he's like, if I drink this expensive ass margarita,
I won't have money for blow.
I mean, I'll have money for blow, but I'll feel bad enough about the margaritas that I won't go buy.
That makes me sad. I'm glad that I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
Because I do wonder, like, sometimes, because, like, I had a very bad alcohol habit when I had, like, no
You
money.
were a problem. You were a problem. As someone that would be around you and also drinking and also had a problem, I'd be like, Feehan's like, you weren't like Taz. You weren't like the Tasmanian devil. You were like Dizzy. Do you remember Dizzy, the little one on the
No.
Taz show?
Pat? I don't.
Bring it up. Dizzy
Yeah.
was, by the way, you're going to buy so much merch with Dizzy on it when you realize that you were Dizzy.
What did I do? Can you?
Yeah, there it is. There's Dizzy. You would come in and be like, just like a little, like,
I'm gonna see
like a
my
little
pants.
tornado.
It's true, though.
That was you at the creek in the early days of the creek. Yeah, man, you would fucking rip shit.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Because I would go to like the pinball room.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the room I was fucking thinking when you said that. Was where the bar and the pinball machines were. I would always be like, whoop, and then the shit with Ella with Legion of Skanks, like that
was
episode.
wild.
And then you're like, I quit. But what's been so great?
Quit again.
What's been so great is watching you quit and then become successful.
Yeah.
Because you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You got out of your own goddamn way.
That was the thing.
And that's, by the way, that's food addiction, that's sex addiction, that's fucking coke, that's booze.
Right.
Getting out of your own way is in life one of the hardest things that I have just started to kind of get out of.
I know. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, why are you doing this like to yourself?
Most of the time it's because you have something in your head that makes you think you're not worthy of having a good life.
Mine felt so like in me, like chemical. Like the second booze hit me, it was like the gold star in Mario.
Man, honestly, Kerryn, I have never felt a sentence like that. Because when it fucking hits your blood, my aunt. I feel like an old Italian guy right now because I'm bringing up everyone that's dead and I'm going.
You want to keep going R.I.P.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
My aunt said that to me when we were drinking one time. We were at, like in the town where my dad died or whatever. My aunt and I were sitting there drinking, and she used to call me Danny, and she's like, Danny, I don't know what to tell you. Something about our blood. Alcohol hits it, and we go different. And you're like, yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
And it's because it just isn't like, oh, I'm in a great mood. Maybe I'll share a little extra. No, it's like, should we go to the Empire State Building?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, what's the most amount of booze I can drink? How can I get fucked up the fastest?
Yeah.
Did you have? I wonder if this is common among people that had drinking problems. Were you a person that was bad at catching up to your friends if they were already out? What I mean by that is, would you overshoot the mark?
Yeah.
I overshot the mark every time I went out.
Yeah. No, I would walk
every time I went out to catch up with like the waiters that were done.
Right.
You know, the first group that would get cut.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, all right, I'll meet you guys at the bar. And then you meet up with them and you're like, well, you guys have been here for an hour. And they've been having like cocktails, casually discussing the inner workings of the restaurant.
Unwinding.
And you show up and you're like, woo!
I would show up, pool stick overhead, like, let's fight.
Oh my God. Dude, that was always my problem, was showing up.
I was looking at old like group pictures of like when we used to go to like dive bars after we worked at Sushi Samba because we'd make bank.
Yeah.
You leave with like $500. We'd go spend half of what we made at the fucking dive bar next door.
Remember buying like 2 packs of cigarettes?
Yeah.
Taking a cab home that night?
Yeah.
At like 4 a.m.
You wake up and you look for the wad of cash and you're like, please be at least $100. Please be at least.
That's why, as a lunch waiter, I always would have the same routine as I would get my tips, I would go right to the Chase Bank, and then I would go home. And I'd keep myself like $40.
Yeah.
But then what that would do is it would motivate me to go get spot pay.
Yeah.
Because then if I had spot pay, I was like, that was my cigarette money. If I already spent the money on cigarettes, I'd be like, all right. But that was like, because you would, waiting tables, especially in New York City, you get a fat fucking knot.
Yeah.
You get a knot of cash.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, everybody, like, every April, all the people I worked with would be like, we're doing our taxes. I'm like, you guys are annoying. Stop talking about that. 15 years later, never did my taxes. They go, I don't know if it was 15 years, they just go in your checking account. I don't know if you guys know that. But
they just take it.
They just, if you never pay your taxes, they go beep, beep, beep.
The first time I did taxes as a waiter in New York was through H&R Block or something.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Like Green
And
Place.
they were like, great, you owe $2,900. And I was like, I don't begin to have that.
No.
And they're like, well,
they were like, well, why weren't you putting away the $14 per shift?
Dude, that's exactly it. Where you're like,
why wasn't I putting that away? I was like, I was putting it away down my throat in the
Camel
form
Lights,
of a fucking
Jameson.
frozen rosé.
Why don't you go to Caffrey and Burke's and ask them where all that money is? But then you like learn how to default. You're like, can I pay later? And they're like, well, how much money do you have? And you're like, $60?
I know.
God, I hate
They went in and they took all my money in my checking account. And at that point, I think it was approximately $875. And so I called them and I was like, guys, I have to eat. Like, I don't
And they're like, we don't care.
They're like, we don't care. They're like, you should have paid your taxes all the time.
They
I
are
was like,
so
I was
like,
who's in charge of me? Like, nobody's like
they're
grabbing
like, lady,
my hand.
we're the IRS. We're not a guy that's trying to fuck you. You're done.
Where are the reminders? Why don't you just send text reminders?
Oh, my God. And then you'd get like the checks from the restaurants that were like 16 cents.
Yeah,
and
because then that's where all your taxes went. And yeah, that was my other question. I was like, yeah, sometimes they take taxes out of my check. You guys don't have that money?
And they go, you owed a lot more.
You owe a lot more than that.
Oh my God. That's why cash tips.
Yeah.
It stuck with me. I haven't waited tables in 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is stuck with me how much cash tips are important for waiters.
Well,
because they're like, no one needs to know.
Nobody needs to know. The government doesn't need to know. That goes right in
and
your
the government
pocket.
doesn't care if on paper you're a bad tipper.
Right.
Oh, yeah, zero? I don't write cash. I'll even tip $10.
Yeah, me too.
Just to be like, here's a 20 on the side. Like, keep that.
Yeah, I'll do it in cabs sometimes too. Like if I take a yellow cab.
Best tip I ever got, Martina McBride, country singer, came in with her husband.
Yeah, bootleg Reba. Just kidding.
She what?
I said bootleg Reba, but I was just kidding.
I'll take it. After this, I didn't know who she was. Our manager was like, that's Martina McBride. And I was like, okay. Her husband was like, listen, we got to go to an interview at NBC. So, like, I need fast stuff. And I was like, order anything off the left side. I wasn't fanboying. I was just straight up like, you're my only table. I don't care. It was like 3 p.m. on a fucking Monday in the winter.
Your job.
And I got him like fast food. I got him the food fast. I kept like getting her husband Cokes. And the bill was like $71. And he gave me $100. And I was like, oh, shit, man. Let me get your cash. Let me get your change. He goes, no change. And I was like, dude, that's so nice. And then I go to the bar, and it was two $100 bills.
Whoa.
And I went back, and I go, dude, that's too much. And he goes, no, it's not. He goes, good job, man. And I was like, you just tipped me $130 on 70 that I don't have to. So I took the busboy. We'd always go smoke weed outside.
Right.
I was like, dude, here's 50.
Nice.
And he was like,
hell yeah.
now those busboys, this happened to me more than once.
Yeah.
Those bussers are men now.
Right.
And a lot of them are door guys in New York City.
No way.
Former bussers. It's happened to me 3 times.
Word.
Where they just come out and they go, Soder. And you're like, what's up, dude? And they're like, I've been working at this building like 7 years. Shit's great. I got kids. And you're like, do you remember we used to go sneak bong hits?
I know.
Yeah, dude, that ruled.
I'm always a big tipper, and I love shaming people when they don't tip.
Yeah.
There's this new thing at coffee shops and whatever. I don't care if you only tip $1 at a coffee shop. Just tip something, because their wages are really low.
Yeah.
So, like, whenever you pay with a card, you have to like sign after. And I don't know if you notice, people just walk away. Like, they pay with their card and then they leave. So it's a great opportunity for you to yell, "You forgot to tip!"
Yeah. Oh my God. I never thought you are absolutely perfect for that role. Because if I did it, you're like, this might be a fight.
You forgot to leave gratuity for the service you're getting.
Do they like that? Do the people at the coffee place are like?
They're my people. Like I'm usually. They probably have mixed feelings about me for a couple of reasons. One, I'm talking about Bluestone Lane. I'm in there every morning at 7 a.m. right when they open with my dog. And if they don't have the tap water out, I do ask them to go fill the bowl for my dog. But I patron their place and I leave like a $5 tip when I go in there, you know? Because I realize they're waiting on me and my dog. They're going above and beyond.
And do you go there to eat and have coffee?
I grab a croissant.
Okay.
And an iced coffee, and I'm on my way. I tip more there than I do at Starbucks. Starbucks, I don't know. I just feel like maybe they don't treat their employees well. They just seem miserable, and
it's starting to become the McDonald's of coffee.
Yeah, it's
Dunkin' actually. I was a big Dunkin' guy.
Yeah,
but Dunkin's fallen off.
Some of them are really gross. I'm like, I don't even want to go in there.
Well, some of their, like, we used to get in when we lived in Jersey. It was like a good walk for me to take the dog to Dunkin',
right,
and then walk it home.
Yeah.
Because I feel bad getting coffee delivered. You're like, I can walk.
I can't do it.
Yeah. And so I've done it, but you feel bad doing it. But I was like, I'll walk. And this one Dunkin', in the span of 3 years, went from being like, oh, it's good, to being like, crap. What the fuck
yeah, like,
is
what are you, a
7-Eleven? Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
The taste completely changed.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, man, that sucks. And then you're like, oh, well, I won't patron it. But the Starbucks by our house, they seem miserable.
They just are so unhappy. I think they overstaff, but then
they also do
slow.
too many complicated drinks.
Yes, they set people up. Their systems are stupid. If it's a fucking iced coffee or a drip, you grab it. And sometimes they do, but not always.
No.
And I'm like, why isn't this uniform across the board? And yes, sometimes the drinks are too complicated, and they're they're overstaffed.
Yeah.
So I feel like it makes the people in line irritated with them too, because I will do it sometimes again out loud. I will count the people in line and I will count the people behind the counter, and I will go 1, 2, 3,
you
4.
are either for someone working in any sort of food.
I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just.
You're either a hero or a villain. You're never in between. You're never just a lady that got a coffee and left.
No.
You're either like, that woman stood up for us and got us tips, or you're like, bitch, I don't have the bowl out because I'm hungover and I wasn't supposed to work breakfast.
I know.
But Rebecca scheduled me.
It's just sometimes fun to let your inner monologue rip. Like this, my thing is with Mabel too. Sometimes her pace is really fast.
Yeah.
And if you're a stranger walking slowly in front of me, I will sometimes just be like, I've never seen someone move so slow.
That's fun.
But just like in passing, sometimes they can't catch you.
My move is, and this shows how much growth I've had in therapy.
Let's hear it.
My thing is I will yell out, looking at your phone in the middle of the sidewalk, like that, and they go, but they're immediately the victim.
Yeah.
They're immediately like,
Oh my goodness.
and you're like, you
No,
stopped.
it's you.
Or going up the stairs of the subway.
Yeah.
If someone's looking at their phone, I go, don't worry, guys, he's getting business done. I've done that at West 4th. If it's like a bro, if it's a lady, it seems a little bullyish.
We're so dumb.
But for a guy, like guys doing it,
Yeah, nerds deserve it.
oh my God.
I'm just a big heads up person.
Heads up.
If you're not looking where you're going,
Great.
and the fucking side, when they're looking to the side, but their body's coming this way, and they're gonna collide with you. You know what I'm talking?
I know exactly what
What's
you mean.
over there? And
Yeah.
but you have to stop your body.
On there was an episode of Louis that they did a really funny thing where I think it was like season 2 or 3. There's an episode where Louis is talking to Todd Barry and this girl is texting, and they just keep running into Louis and Todd as they're talking, where they'd be like, "Oh Jesus," and then it's like, not because no one looks up. It's fucking wild. Heads up is possibly the
Heads up.
best way to not start shit.
Yeah.
and let people know they're being
Heads up.
dickheads.
Heads up. Heads up. You got to.
Pick your fucking eyes up is also a way you can do it.
My dog also like sniffs people's asses from behind, and that's on me. I should be controlling that. But
I try.
sometimes, like, be aware.
Yeah, I want to run something by you. I tried it as a bit. Really couldn't find why it was funny, but it just happened, and I thought it was crazy. This guy petted Myrtle
Yeah.
and did not acknowledge me.
You. He doesn't notice
He just
you.
went like this.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then I was like, hey,
No, it's like because she's an extension of you.
that's my little lady. Now she's got her clone.
Imagine a guy do that to Katie. It doesn't
I'll
look at
fucking
you.
kill him. He just jiggled her right butt cheek. He goes, damn, look at this cake.
Do you know what
I bet-
Mabel does with guys' dicks? She goes when she like first meets them like in an elevator. It's like they're a doggy door flap. She somehow gets under their dicks.
Damn, so she gets the whole fucking package?
I've seen, especially guys in gym shorts or like
Oh my
sweatpants.
God.
Like I can see, I'm like, I'm so sorry, because they will look at me and
It almost
grab
looks
their
like,
balls. Like
but it looks
I,
like you trained her
That's
to do
what I
that.
mean. They look
Where
at me like, oh.
She goes, sorry, just trying to see what's in there. Sorry, some people have drug dogs. I have a cock dog. Sorry.
I mean, she goes for pussies
Myrtle,
too. But
that's so, you're like, Mabel, find out how big that dude's dick is.
she like turns around. She goes, "It falls right here on my
Yeah.
skull, Mom."
Yeah, she gives you a sign, paw up if it's big, nothing if it's small.
Yeah,
so
some
fucking-
people are just afraid of dogs or not that interested in them, and Mabel has a hard
People
time.
who are afraid of dogs,
Let's smoke this.
I understand.
We usually only do 45 minutes. So
All right.
We'll wrap up
Going
pretty
over.
soon.
But people who are afraid of dogs, I understand. People who are just meh about dogs, I don't get that.
I agree.
You don't think that they're not the most fun thing in the world. A dog randomly, I was doing press in some city.
Oh, excuse me.
See, well, not really. If I was selling out, I wouldn't have to do any press. But I was doing morning radio, and I was in the lobby, and I didn't want to be there. And they had an office dog.
What kind of dog? And put you in a different mood.
I was so happy to be there.
Yeah. I know.
This is before I had a dog. It made me so happy to be there.
Some people don't realize, like, the organic, natural dopamine, the serotonin that they give you on a daily basis is so good for your mental health.
Simple.
It's because you're being rewarded because when you enrich them, they enrich you back. So you're actually being rewarded for work too. So
Yeah.
all of that like happiness is organic and deserved.
I mean, it's frustrating as fuck because all they want to do is eat and smell everything.
Yeah.
But having a dog it was worth the pandemic.
Do you think you and Katie will have like a house with a backyard one day? Probably.
I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is
Because I see Myrtle thriving in a backyard.
she's not like Manhattan.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is. I think that's the goal. It's
Yeah.
like
That seems
we're
like
both
a-
going to bust our ass
Yeah.
so we can live close to New York City with a great backyard.
Yeah.
Because Jay and Christine had a house. They Airbnb'd
Hamptons?
a house in the Hamptons
Yeah.
for Memorial Day.
Okay.
Big fenced-in backyard because of their dog,
Right.
Dawkins.
Dawkins.
And so we,
Named after Brian Dawkins of the Philadelphia Eagles.
one of the greatest safeties of all time. And as a 49er fan, I'll even admit that. We let her into that backyard, and she was like,
Are they friends?
yeah, they played along great.
They're probably similar
Dawkins
size.
barked at Myrtle in a weird way, where Myrtle was like, whatever, dude, I got
Yeah.
a backyard. This is awesome. Myrtle and Bandit, Ari's dog,
I love Bandit.
they play a lot.
Yeah.
When they're around each other, Ari brought Bandit to the dog park when both dogs were pretty young.
Yeah.
In Hoboken, which was like it was like a big dog park.
Not that gross East Village Park.
No, it was
Irving.
like a great. God damn, I
okay.
didn't realize how good we had it. That Hoboken dog park's so good compared to what.
I go to the dog beach with Mabel and Justin's dog sometimes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But in the dog park, I had Myrtle was just running around playing, and Bandit came in, and they immediately started playing.
Mm-hmm.
That was very rewarding. You're like, yay!
Isn't it?
They're like chasing each other. You're like, get it, guys.
Mabel's best playmate friend is a black lab named Louise. And if you were a bystander and you didn't know these dogs or me and Amy, their owners, you would think they were in a fight.
Really?
A full-on, like, to the
They
death.
do the they do this noise a lot.
They flip each other. They pin each other.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's times where, like, Mabel will hide under the bench because she needs, like, a timeout. Because, like,
Yeah.
Louise, I have a joke in my act where I say Mabel's undefeated at every dog park in Lower Manhattan. But Louise's mom will disagree with that. 'cause
She'll say Louise will take out.
Louise will pin Mabel, and she's not wrong. Louise
Dude.
is.
Dogs playing with each other and then coming. I feel bad for Myrtle because I take her to the dog park in Manhattan, and she's like, "These people are weird."
It's tough, right? Because we're kind of just thrusting these like beings together and been like, be friends, like be social.
Yeah. Well,
and
that's what
it's
they
like,
do with kids.
I know. Some kids are like. What's funny though is my family was in town and we walked by this group of kids. I'm done with this. Are you done with this?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
They were outside playing soccer, like kids that my niece and nephew had ever met. My niece and nephew are 11 and 8. They live in a different state. They have a different vibe. These kids were playing soccer at like 9 o'clock on like by the Hudson, like, and they just jumped in.
Yeah.
Not only did they jump in, like my nephew was like kind of gotten like not like a little tiff with one of the kids, and then
That's
they
awesome.
made up
That's
within the
fun.
span of like 15 minutes.
That's kids.
Baxter was like, "Yeah, I kicked the ball and hit him in the back, so he chased me around, said he was gonna kill me, and then we were friends."
And now we're cool. Now I got a friend that lives in New York City. But there is.
Yeah.
That was my favorite
Yeah.
part of Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Drinking.
Okay.
Was he compared going to a bar sober? He's like, it's no different than when you went to a birthday party when you were 5.
Right.
The first 10 minutes were awkward.
Right.
But then you're like running around having fun, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's how we all operate. So
Right.
I forget about that. Mm-hmm. Unless you're at a barbecue with Shane, and then you're like, I'll have another Heineken Zero.
Heineken Zip.
I was just cracking them. I went and got them. I left the barbecue and got them. I was like, I need this shit.
That's so funny.
Needed it
Did you have to pee a lot?
so much.
I used to drink in O'Doul's here and there during one of my phases of quitting.
Here's the thing about, I always was worried. Like,
Yeah.
I drink too many zeros.
Yeah.
But then I drink it, and then I'm uncomfortable, and then I know the calories, and I'm like,
Right.
why did I do that?
Yeah, what's the payoff?
I could have had a Gatorade or a
Right.
delicious drink that I enjoy.
I mean, I drink a lot of pineapple juice, you know, because it's supposed to make
Damn,
my,
if you're a dude, your cum would be so sweet.
well, it's supposed to make my pussy taste good, but
Oh, really?
Nobody kn-
I didn't know it worked for
nobody's-
ladies, too. I thought it was
Yeah.
just us and our boy sap.
yeah, I do it. I picture like Willy Wonka and like the good smelling.
Do you think there's a guy who's
wallpaper.
like, do you drink a lot of pineapple juice?
Yeah.
Has that happened?
I
Where he's
see-
like, damn, your pussy tastes like, what's that, Dole? You get a lot of Dole pineapples.
Yeah, it's a lot of black guys though. They're like, "Can you make this grape?"
That's so funny. Can you add a little Alizé to this? But you're like, oh, fuck. Dude, that's so I always thought that was so funny to sweeten your load. You're like, do you like cum sweet or unsweetened? I just need to know how much juice I got to drink. I got to know if I got to cut my shit.
Yeah. Cum always like tastes like not great.
Has it ever been
palatable?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my last boyfriend actually. I take that back. My last boyfriend was actually good.
You go, that's a good batch.
It was like
You should give a review.
Yeah.
You go, hey guys, hey guy.
Yeah.
It's me, Kerryn. Coming at you like hit a ring light. I just drank your cum. The nodes.
And I have
getting,
one question for you. Were you playing intramural sports last night?
The pineapple.
Because this is spicy.
You are coming in hot. You were doing a lot of lifting weights, I think.
This is like sweaty cum. Does that make sense?
Stress-induced activity.
You're leaking from the wrong places.
Your cum is chunky. Are you taking a lot of naps? It'd be fun to like be able to tell. You know how like in those Western movies, the Native Americans.
We're the West.
The Native Americans would always like touch the dirt and be like, "Horses were here 15 minutes ago."
Yeah.
Could you do that with cum?
There'd be like shit
Where
too.
You go like you taste cum and you go. Did you go to Maine? He's like, I did.
Do you have a lobster roll in Portland, Maine?
I fucking did. You go, I'm getting the brine of it. There's a slight.
Did you warm butter? Or did
Did you do lobster and hot butter? I'm getting it through your cum. That would fucking rule. Cum detective.
I'm a cum sommelier.
Yeah.
A cummelier.
I'm getting nodes.
I'm a cummelier.
Cummelier, dude. Kerryn Feehan, cummelier.
Cummelier.
Make the shirt.
Not Kanye,
Get
though.
the money.
He hates Jews. We all know
It'd be
Jews love to cum.
CUMMELIER.
Je suis une cummelier.
Bonjour.
Bonsoir.
Je suis cummelier. Come in my hand. Yeah. It's the body was full. Dude, that'd be great. Do it. Make money off it.
Hey, listen, thanks for coming on my podcast. This is obviously the best episode we've ever done.
Yeah, sure.
I think it will get more views than Joe List, and I
don't want to. Don't pin us against each other. He's my good friend.
I think Joe will enjoy this. He likes.
Joe's blowing up.
Look, I mean, Joe loves getting in a fight for public exposure.
No, he does not. And I will stand up for that is not the narrative. I'll tell you who I am.
Joe obviously did all this for attention.
As New York's #1 sweet boy, I'm going to bring Bert and Joe back together.
Oh, you are a connector.
I would connect Joe and Bert.
Yeah.
I was recently on the Fully Loaded tour. Joe's one of my oldest friends in comedy. One of my favorite people on earth.
Yeah. I think it's like, it sounds
Bert
like
is a sweetie.
It sounds like a thing that I've been in a million times.
I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna do a one-off podcast, and I'm gonna do a sit down over Thai food with Bert Kreischer and Joe
Joe
List.
refuses to eat it.
I
don't like Thai food.
I go, think, you know what, bud? We got you pizza, and they're gonna bring pizza for him, and then we are gonna sit and hash this out. I promise you that. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I can't promise anything. I'm high. You saw it happen.
You guys saw it in real time.
You rule, Kerryn.
I feel like there's no reason for you to plug anything because
DanSoder.com. DanSoder.com. I'm going to be in Dana Beach.
You follow me and you're not following Dan. You're like a weird person.
No, you're not.
You're like your own little corner.
No, I get it. DanSoder.com. Dana Beach, Side Splitters in Tampa, Dana Beach Improv.
I love
a lot of
Side
West
Splitters.
Coast shit coming up. Comedy Store, Irvine Improv, American Comedy Company. Seattle, Neptune Theater
West
in August.
Coast.
Yeah, West Coast. Seattle,
West Coast
Calgary,
Soder.
Edmonton. Let's go.
West Coast Soder.
You are. I'm so happy that you quit drinking.
Me too.
I'm so happy you've been kicking ass.
It took me like 3 times.
You rule.
But, we got there.
Katie and Myrtle say hi.
Like Katie and I love you guys. We didn't even talk about my family's visit.
Oh my God. You got a whole other episode.
Hey, man. And then you'll double down and beat Joe List twice. I'm kidding. I don't know why I'm doing that. What does that mean? Oh, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. It's just stalled out.
You know what?
Finish episode.
It's OnlyFeehans.